Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
How soon should India introduce a booster dose? This came from the audience, and I know it's a bit controversial, but it'll be good to hear your thoughts. Any of you who wants to come in? Mahima.
Yeah. At the cost of sounding like I have vested interest, so maybe I should have a disclaimer beforehand. But I think the evidence is out there that different vaccines have waning antibody levels post 4 to 6 months post-vaccination, some much more than others, which is why you suddenly seen, well, not I guess suddenly, but there was a pretty determined need to include boosters, for example, in the United States. What's unclear is, most people don't publish this or talk about it, is how these vaccines are working against the existing variants and the new variants. But one thing that seems to be clear is that if your antibody levels stay high, you seem to be preventing any kind of severe disease, even if there's a variant change. So my personal belief is that we will head in the direction where boosters will get introduced, particularly if you've taken some vaccines. WHO gave guidance 3 days ago that if you've taken an inactivated vaccine, you must take a booster. If you're immunocompromised, you must take a booster. So this was just like 3-4 days ago. So I think we're headed in that direction. A lot will depend on which vaccines you've taken and when the booster should be given. Should it be 4 months, 6 months? Will it be different for healthcare workers? Of course, this discussion is a difficult one to have in the context of majority of kind of the developing world not having full coverage with even the primary series. So it makes one nervous to kind of suggest that everyone should go out there and have a booster, making this inequity even more extreme than it already is. So that's what I'll have to say about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kiran, I was going to ask you, from a global inequity perspective, booster doses are going to probably widen that gap. So maybe just a couple of minutes on your thoughts.
Well, I think, I personally believe that first and foremost, if there's evidence to show that you get more protection against severe disease with a booster shot, then nobody can argue against that because, you need to do that. But at the same time, I think we also know that there's enough immune escape taking place with the new variants. So would you like to kind of exhaust all your vaccine doses with just randomly immunizing everybody with a booster shot? Or like Mahima said, should you basically target those who are vulnerable, those who are immune compromised, those who are frontline workers with this kind of extra protection? I think we also don't have enough data to tell us whether even a waning antibody, is it not protecting us against severe disease? I think that data also needs to be, shared. Because right now it suits everyone to say, let's go for an extra booster. But I'd like to see data that says that if you've had 2 doses, you're fairly well protected against severe disease. And whilst it's nice to boost your antibody levels with a booster dose, can we not make sure that everybody in the world at least has their shot of the vaccine? And we also know that there are attempts to now develop new generation vaccines which actually take care of all these emerging variants. So would you not like to wait for that to get a booster shot? So I just want to know, if you're well protected against severe disease with 2 shots of vaccines, then why are you in a hurry to get that extra protection in a booster shot just yet? I mean, I can share with you that a few weeks ago, I had a mini pandemic in my own household, where although all of us were vaccinated, we had quite a few members of the household testing positive. But the good news was nobody had to be hospitalized. It was very mild and everyone fully recovered within a week or 10 days. Everyone tested negative. So, to me, that was a kind of an indication that, the vaccines do protect.
Absolutely.
And this was the same, and they were all sequenced, by the way, for Delta. And as you know, the Delta variant ravaged India in the months of April and May, when we were very poorly vaccinated.
Sure.
So the fact that, the same Delta variant has caused mild disease, now at least in my little microcosm, I just feel that, we should look at such data before jumping into a booster shot.
Absolutely. Robin, you get the last word. Quick thoughts, and I know, I know you're going to talk about equity. So go ahead.
Yes, and I'm not going to suggest any prescription for India's vaccination policy, but so just say two quick things. So, Australia, like many developed countries, does have a policy of progressively providing boosters for its population, and our technical advisory group on immunisation has just decided that the interval should be reduced from 6 months to 5 months in light of what little is known about Omicron. So, I mean, that is a fairly common situation. But you're right, like we are very conscious of the trade-offs, and when it comes to the distribution of vaccines from our supply to other countries in the region, we are just beginning to experience requests for the supply of vaccines for use as boosters, and we are willing to do that. It would be hypocritical not to, but it is a scarce resource, and we're seeking to be sure that boosters are used for the high priority segments of the population, particularly healthcare workers. And we want to be sure that within our region, the primary course vaccination requirements are met ahead of the provision of booster doses.